Hey guys, welcome back to part number 3 of my F-15C build in 72nd scale. So today we're basically just going to focus on the engines. I was going to do a little bit more in this video, but the assembly is pretty straightforward. There's not really too much to show you, to be honest with you. So today we'll just focus on the engines. I found it a little tricky kind of how it fits, so I'll talk about how they kind of go together, the parts. They are beautifully detailed, and then we'll go into like the painting side of things and what kind of products and how I paint them up and weather them. So let's go ahead and get started. Hey guys, welcome back. So let's get straight into this and start with the engines. So I've built one already. You can see how nicely detailed that is. You know, for 72nd scale, it's quite exquisite. Now, there's a lot of frustration to get here. I fooled around with this thing for 20 minutes or so. I couldn't get the thing to go in flush. I tried everything. I looked at some stuff online, then looked at some reference pics, and I finally figured out how to do it. So let me kind of share with you how I'm going to do this. So basically we've got 5 parts to make up the engine here. So the first one is this guy, which is pretty straightforward. We're just going to glue in the missing kind of sections. Like that. Just going to make sure it's kind of lined up somewhat. Put a little glue on the inside, and the other piece. Again, just put a little glue on the inside. Okay, then you could paint that separately, I guess, but I'm just going to do it all in one shot. So this is really a nice snug fit, to be honest with you. So that kind of clips in. You probably don't need any glue, but I'm just going to put a little bit around the back just to seal it in. And then this bit is where I went wrong. So I got it like this, and I was like, hey, yeah, this big gap, how would it work? How would it work? Like this, slots on the end. And look, there's a gap, and I falling around trying to push it in and trying all kinds of things, and then in the end what I realized is these guys aren't flush with the end. It sits over the top and it kind of bends in. So let me kind of show you what I mean. So there's stuff going around the outside here, like here, so there's like lumps and stuff. This collar has got to sit on top of that, and then that helps. I put it in front, see, like that, and it wouldn't fit. You get that kind of gap. And that's what I was fooling around with. So what you got to do is you just literally just a little brute force, just push it over that collar. You hear it kind of clicking, and see how it's kind of level with that. And then what happens is when we put it in now, it fits perfectly. So that small little thing has caused me quite some frustration. I almost ruined the kit, to be honest with you, because I was trying to force the thing in there, didn't know why it wouldn't go, and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, so that's pretty much it. So you see how beautiful these engines are, these engine nozzles. Should I say, I don't want to call them engines, but nozzles. So what you could do, I guess, is save some paint time. While you're doing the intakes, you could just, if you do this at the same time, you know, we're painting the same colors, so you'd be using white in the intakes. I guess where you had white in a brush, you could put white in and then paint fan blades. And then this one's not quite straight. So there we go. And then paint all the rest of it. So we're going to paint those a little bit later on, but I just want to show you how to assemble those. So again, what we'll do is we'll paint those separately, paint the aircraft separately, and at the very end and the last part, we'll bring all this stuff together and just to glue it in with some super glue. So with the engine nozzles on like that, that's how it's going to look. Cool. So that's the engine. So just want to kind of show you real quick that one before I forgot. Like I say, it was a little tricky, but we got there in the end. So just make sure you push that thing over the collar over those kind of lumps, and then it kind of bends in all these kind of like long skinny bits. So we go focus. There we go. And there's your 2 beautiful engines nozzles. So we're done with the nozzles. As you can see, we're done painted, looking pretty nice. Really nice detail again for 72nd scale. Hoping you can see some of that in the camera. So let's kind of talk about how we did this. So we just talked about the assembly painting wise. So pretty much the same way as you did the intakes. And if you want to save some painting, clean up your airbrush and save a little time, you could probably just paint these the same time as you're doing the intakes, to be honest with you. So white on the inside, straightforward white, and then the fan blades at the back were steel. Right here. Not that you can really see them. A little disappointing, it's all molded into one. It's always nice when it's separate, it's a little easier to paint. You can just glue it in the back, but they were molded in one, so be a little bit careful painting that. And then we got into metallics. So the dark colour around the outside here was MRP exhaust metal. I do like this one, but the Alclad one's really nice too. And well, I'm not really into AK Extreme Metals. I had one bottle from them and it was a bad batch. And yeah, so I went through all kinds of hurdles with them and they never responded to me. In the end, I got a refund from the person I bought it from, the company. But yeah, so I wouldn't recommend the AK one. That just didn't dry at all. It's just terrible. But really like the MRP one right now, the exhaust metal. So that was for the outside here. Then what I did then was hold it back a little bit so it focuses. You can see a little bit like lighter sheen, dry brushing to pick out all that detail. So again, I used the steel once more, dry brushed it over the end here, and then I masked it up, and then this kind of collar around the back. If I look at my reference pictures, it's kind of like, yeah, like say this color right here, which is like lighter, kind of like a little bit kind of titanium-y, kind of goldy mixed in. So I used the, well, talking about how I don't like AK Extreme Metals, this one actually is okay. It's draw aluminium, or draw aluminum, no matter where you're on the world. The number's worn off there, so I'm not sure exactly which one it is, but draw aluminium, which is like a nice color. It's aluminium, like saying it's in the bottom now, it's settled, it's like really gold. Takes a good shake, but it'll blend in, so it gives it like titanium kind of look. So that's what I did with the engine. And then weathering wise, then on the inside, which again you're not really going to see very good on the camera here, but on the inside I used for the first time this one, MRP exhaust soot, which is MRP 180. It's almost like a clear paint. It's really interesting. On this scale, you're not really doing it justice. I'm really interested to try it on my 32nd scale or a 48 scale jet. You think you'll get better, see it better, the effect it gives. But over the white, it kind of gives it that dirty kind of stained. I was wondering if it had some kind of pigment in it to give it kind of, but it doesn't. I don't think so. It has like, but it's interesting. So this kind of goes hand in hand. So you got the exhaust, which is M148, the exhaust metal, and then the soot is 180. So almost like a pair. Again, these MRP paints, this is going to last a lifetime because you just see how much is in there, and literally, you know, I use probably half. I know it's 72nd scale, but I probably use like half a mil. You don't dilute this stuff; it just sprays straight in the bottle, but it's going to last forever. So these two, I mean, I make a lot of models, and this will last me, you know, several years probably. So just bear that in mind. So I sprayed the inside, got kind of dirty color, and then after. Well, okay, two things I missed out. So the fan blades at the very back, just kind of make them pop a little bit. I used, exact same as we did with the intakes, I used panel color black. I should try to do it on the inside of the nozzle here, but it didn't work so good, so I kind of wiped it off, and then I switched to what I had on my shelf here, which I barely ever use, this Vallejo black acrylic wash, and this actually worked really good. So what I did was I got a brush, basically, and I just, again, I'm sure you can see it on the camera with lighting and stuff, but then to get that kind of like kind of stripy, almost like zebra kind of thing, I just kind of ran it kind of with a gap in between like different lines of that acrylic wash and just let it kind of settle, and it kind of really kind of turned out really nicely, get that kind of grimy effect along with that exhaust soot we use from MRP. And here's the other one, obviously exactly the same. So yeah, and it's super tiny, so where we're at. So, but by the way, the aircraft, I filled the seams and stuff. I got the canopy masked and on, ready to go for paint and prime. Well, prime and paint. Always say it opposite way around for some reason, but obviously going to prime and paint it. On the underside, I had some black left in my gun, so I sprayed it a little bit, and then I touched in the wheel wells. Two ways, no right way. You can either do it like I do at the front end, then just mask it in, or some foam, and then spray it, or you can either paint the whole fuselage colour and do it at the very end. I always do it at the beginning, just add some foam in there, or some blue tack or something, just to fill it in, to mask it. So, oopsie, dropped it again. I think I dropped it last video as well, so we're still in one piece anyway. So yeah, so looking really good. So just kind of show you how the engine's going to go in. It should be dry now. And there you go, it's going to look really good. Obviously, you know, this metallic-y here on the bottom and stuff. But obviously, we're not glue these in right now. We're going to wait to the very end. So this whole thing gets painted and finished, weathered, everything. And then at the very end, we'll come with some super glue and just add these in. And we don't have to worry about masking or anything like that. So that is where we're at. To be honest, when I planned this video, it was going to be a little bit more kind of talking about some more assembly and stuff. A little bit longer, but I've kind of run out of things to do in terms of assembly. It's a 72nd scale kit which goes together beautifully. I've gone through and cut all the other parts off and primed them all, and there's really nothing to talk about. It just goes per the instructions. It's just simple. So, you know, it's a waste of time really, me to kind of go over anything else. So this video is just going to be about the engines right now. I can show you, like for example here, I might zoom the camera out a little bit. You can see here all the parts, you know, the tails and the pylons and some of the weapons and stuff are all kind of painted up, well, primed, ready for paint. Again, it's a kind of hard angle, but you're not really going to see it, but any road. So yeah, so we're in good shape. So like I said, I rather than waffling on this video, it's going to be a lot shorter than normal. So this will just focus on the engines. I've gone through assembly, I've gone through what products I used and how I painted them. And we're in good shape, so we're ready for prime and paint. So next week will be the paint work, which will be a lot more in depth, because obviously we're going to paint that camo scheme on it. We're going to use those aero masks and, you know, mask it off, and that really nice compass. Is it compass? Ghost compass? Let me see what it's called again. It's called Compass Ghost. So these are masks we're going to use next week. Now, full disclosure, I don't have the paints yet, so fingers crossed I will have them in time. I don't have the 36320 or the 36375, which is the mod grey and the aggressor grey, I think they're called. Yeah, they've been stuck. I ordered directly with Attacker. They're in Eastern Europe, and they've been. They said it'd ship within 2 days. And it's been a couple of weeks, and they're still not shipped. So, fingers crossed. Hopefully, have them in time, and we'll get going on the next video. I'm filming this a little bit in advance, so we shouldn't have any issues. So, next week we're going to get this painted, and we'll go from there. So again, it's a little bit shorter this week, but thank you for watching. As always, please, any questions or comments, put them below. I answer them, respond to every single comment, and I'm happy to help. So yeah, again, this is Richie from RW Hobbies. See you next week. Thank you and goodbye.